Hey everybody out there on the internets, welcome again to another edition of Give It a Shot, Spotlight Edition. And before I get into today's Spotlight, you may notice that I've got the old couch back. We are slowly getting things ready to go, and I'm feeling better about things. Eventually this space will be 100%. But we can only go so fast. So, little change up today. For the Spotlight Edition, I figured, I should probably give some of these things another shot. Metaphorically.
Wow! The fun and learning never ends in Hip Hop Harry's world!
So this edition of Give It a Shot is going to be a bit of a revisit. So, not too long ago, actually probably more like 2 years ago, I watched a direct-to-rip episode of Hip Hop Harry right here, and it was pretty bad, but I thought maybe it was, just because it was a weak episode, because I usually pick an episode that sounds like it's going to just be bad. And I figured, why don't I just try again and see what would happen? So I looked at the back of the box, and there were two others: My Favorite Things and Words Have Power. And I was figuring, well, Words Have Power seems a little abstract. We'll go with that. And yeah, words have power. How are you going to demonstrate that to children? I mean, this is children's entertainment. That's a little bit of an abstract concept. What are you going to do? Here's what you got. I don't really have to describe a whole lot of the premise here, but I should before I'm getting a little ahead of myself. In case you forgot, Hip Hop Harry is a hip hop bear. Basically looks like what Flavor Flav would look like if he just downed 50 boxes of Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies. 50 boxes, and then he just decided to live his life. And so he runs the Hip Hop Center, which is kind of like a community center, and the kids come in after school and they learn some things a la Barney. Way after Barney, but Barney nonetheless. In today's episode, we got two plots about how words have power. The first is with this girl who gets a brand new toy, remote control boat, and she's all excited to play with it. Her parents gave it to her in the morning, which I'm no parent, but I'm pretty sure that is the worst thing you can do.
My parents gave me a new toy this morning, and I've been waiting all day to come to Hip Hop Central and play with it.
Whoa! Let's see this new toy you're so excited about.
It's a motorboat!
I mean, your kid probably struggles to get through the day in school to begin with, so why would you give them a toy so that now they're totally distracted? Second, why would you let them take the toy complete in box to school? Getting it stolen is like the bare minimum of stupid things that could possibly happen here, but there you go. So, kids all excited to play with it, and Hip Hop Harry is like, sure, we can do that, not a problem. So he brings out this kiddie pool, and then he gives them a general reminder of, pool safety, water safety. Even though this is only like not even knuckle deep, gotta do it.
Yeah, just be careful and play where I can see you. Remember, even with a pool this small, you have to practice good water safety.
She has a friend there, and he has experience with remote control boats and other things, and so they're all excited to play it. And so they fill it up with some water. Like, there's hardly any water in this stupid tub, but fill it up with some water, and she reads the instruction: put boat in water. Thunk.
Place the boat in the water. Check.
And naturally she tries to make it go, and because the water's so shallow, it's not going anywhere. And the boy's telling her, hey, dummy, why don't we add more water? And she's like, no, I listened to the instructions. It's good. He's like, no, you need more water. If you really want this to go, you need to add more water. And she's like, no, I listened to the instructions. I know what I'm doing.
We need more water in the pool.
No, Davide, I read the directions, and it doesn't say anything about how much water we need.
Well, he doesn't really listen to her. He goes and grabs another bucket of water, He pours it into the stinking tub, and some water gets on the boat. Now it's wet, and she loses her mind.
I know I can make it work.
But Sophina, more water will let it...
Davide! The boat is going to sink! You're going to break it!
How dare you get my boat wet? So, that's our premise for plot A. Good stuff! So plot B revolves around two other kids, and this girl's father has his birthday today. And she's like, I gotta get him something. And the boy says, why don't you make him something? It's of you. Since you can't make the things that he likes, which is a premise of this. And she's like, well, what can I do? Why don't we make him a card or something like that? And so they make a card, and some really nice illustrations with crayon, which is something I can't do, so I'm kind of jealous there. And it looks nice, and they have that. So, working back to the premise that this whole thing deals with, I'm not 100% sure how this all works. At least with plot A, I can see how words have power. Now, keep in mind, this is for children, because I have a PhD, I know how communication works. But for your target audience, I'm not quite sure if this all pans out, because at least in plot A, when he gets the boat wet, and she yells at him, and calls him a couple names or something like that. I don't know. I've been trying to block this out of my head since I watched it, which isn't good when you're trying to do a review.
You don't know anything about boats. Look, some water got on the boat. You're ruining my new toy.
I'm sorry, Sophina.
Hip Hop Harry's like, hey, you can't go around calling people names that makes them feel bad. That's why words have power. Okay, I understand that. That translates pretty well for a child. The other one, I understand it. Thoughts and actions, can mean a lot to people. But your words, and there she does have some slam poetry, which is not very good.
Baseball is your favorite thing, but you are the one that makes me sing.
It works, but it doesn't have the same weight as the other ones, so like the second one kind of falls flat. And it feels like these are two separate stories that should be in separate episodes, not this conglomeration. So it kind of falls flat there. Not that the first story was any good, because my God, you got my boat wet!
Look, some water got on the boat. You're ruining my new toy.
How dare you get my boat wet! And so she apologized after they learned her lesson, and yada 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 yada. But it's one of those things where I looked at it and I was thinking, wow, did you really run out of ideas? Like, I don't know how many episodes this thing had, but if this is what you're working, if this is the thin premises that you are working with now, wow, okay, because like, obviously, I'm sorry, the card thing I don't even care about. That's what it is. That's fine. But plot A with the whole boat in the kiddie pool and all of that, if these kids look to be about 8 to 10 years old, they should not be as dumb as rocks as they are here. I would understand this premise if they were 4 or 5-year-olds, like they don't kind of grasp all the concepts, but not when you're 8 to 10. You should have at least some cognitive ability to understand that boat goes in water, water helps it go. Oh, the top of it got wet, it's not ruined.
I think we need more water in the pool.
No, Davide, I read the directions and it doesn't say anything about how much water we need.
That's a little bit harder to swallow. And the only thing harder to swallow than that is the repetitive nature of the music. Holy jeez, crow, this music. And look, I understand. and I try to take it with a grain of salt, that when you do children's programming, music has to be repetitive to get it into their skull. I mean, I can still remember a lot of music from Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers that, you know, I watched all those years ago. Okay, fine, but when it's like this...
When I say hip-hop, you say hairy hip-hop. Hip-hop. When I say hip-hop, you say hairy hip-hop. Hip-hop.
You can make a gift for your family and friends. When you need a gift, you don't have to spend. You can make a gift for your family and friends. Words have power. Words have power. Stop and think before you talk.
It's going to become worse than an earworm. Gorby, please erase this from my memory. Oh! Yeah. So, the music, I think there's three different musical parts to this entire thing. And I mean, it's primarily hook. There might be a stanza in there somewhere with each one, but not really. It's repetition of the hook and the dance moves, because, you know, none of these kids can act or dance or anything. Well, no, one can dance, because during the dance circle, which is like the end padding, as if this thing wasn't padded out enough, the one girl who has the problem about the boat, she can flip, so cool. But they definitely can't act. But you're working with children. I don't really know what you're looking to do. But you would hope they're not as dumb as a box of hammers when it comes to the shallow part of the boat being in water and you can't go.
I read the directions, and it doesn't say anything about how much water we need.
You know, barring that, and the repetitious nature of the program itself, is the harmless. It just doesn't have the weight that it should. It could have done so much better. The premise for the episode feels more like a hodgepodge of two separate ideas that they just put together, and it doesn't work. The bear, I still don't care for Hip Hop Harry. He blinks, which I guess it's kind of necessary, but his mouth also kind of moves, and I think that makes it worse. Like, he broke his jaw. I really wish they wouldn't show that so much. I also, wow, this has me like I'm changing octaves. I also wonder about the poor bastard in the bear suit that, you know, how many times did he knock around a child? Because, I mean, the bear's pretty round. And I'm pretty sure I'm assuming it's a dude, you know, slapped a child by accident, or, you know, passed out and fell on a child under the heat of the lights in the studio. So that couldn't have been good. Yeah, it's just not... It's not that great at all. It just feels like they ran out of ideas at this point. I mean, really, when you have a boat at the bottom of a kiddie pool that's shallow enough as it is, and a kid can't figure out why it's not going.
Does it? This is my boat. I know I can make it work.
You might be creatively bankrupt. Like, you don't have any ideas to make any of this stuff go. And then to pad it all out, you have the dance circle at the end, because you barely had like 10 minutes of material, honestly, to work with in this 25-minute masterpiece of what not to do. So you have the dance circle at the end, which has like no relevance, just padding. And then you still have 5 minutes to go. You do like a memory game and a review of what went on in this episode, which, again, young children need. You know, repetition for what they learned. Totally get it. But when you have next to nothing to actually work with, you kind of fall flat. Just saying. So, no. You know, I did the director riff of the first episode, and I thought, well, you know, that's just an episode, and I picked the goofy title. That's fine. Making new friends. How are they gonna make this bad? And they did. Well, I figured you gotta give it a second shot, which I wish I didn't, because now it's more of a trend of they're working with next to nothing, and this somehow made it to television. I mean, it's Discovery Kids, and like 5 people watch this, but it was on television. You know, even Rhapsody Street Kids got on television. Yeah, Hip Hop Harry is something you should hip hop heave into the garbage, because it just ain't cutting it, man, at all. I would take it another shot, but real talk, this is my 3rd attempt on trying to review this, and the video capture has not worked for reasons that escape me. So I was giving it 3 before, but I can't do this again. I mean, it's already, my thought no good. So this is probably the shortest of the reviews, and I don't even care at this point. You're getting some how the sausage is made moments right now. This is bad. It's 3 shots bad, but I'm only using 2 shots at the moment. Hip Hop Harry, hip hop blows. That doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even go with the alliteration, you moron. So you can tell how flustered I am at everything. So, fuck Hip Hop Harry. I think I am going to give you the hip hop heave now. Oh, hell. Spilled it. That's great. All that liquid gold over there I can't afford to lose because, you know, God only knows what will happen if I have to do this again. Which I hope not. So, until next time, kids, toodles!